Hey everybody, Jim here with another question, this time from Chris Albin on Facebook, who also goes by BioPhoenix here on YouTube, and he wants to know if there are any consoles that I own but don't really collect for, which is a good question because, I mean, if you look behind me, I obviously collect for PC Engine and Famicom, Super Famicom, Mega Drive, PS2, PS1, Neo Geo City, lots and lots of consoles that I actively collect for. I'm always looking for new good games for those systems to add to the collection, but there are some systems where the library is just so either small or just like bad quality in the games that there's really no desire to collect for them, at least not for me. So there are actually 3 consoles that I own that I have some games for, but I really don't feel the need to get any more just because these consoles and the games for them aren't terribly good. They don't really offer much, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about a few of those. Okay, so the first console I'll bring up is one that's really obscure, and as such it's kind of an expensive console and can be expensive to collect for. The only reason I ended up with the console and any games for it was because I was just lucky enough to find them for much cheaper than they actually go for online, and that console is the Bandai Dia, which I have one. It's not here in my apartment with me. It's actually still boxed up in storage somewhere. To show you how much I actually played it and how much I value it. I only have 2 games for it, and those games are these Dragon Ball Z FMV games. I believe these were eventually just released as a movie. I think The Plot to Destroy the Saiyans is what it's called. This is one, and these Hachiek is the villain, the red guy here. These basically play like Dragon Ball Z versions of Dragon's Lair, which is actually kind of cool. So yeah, while these aren't necessarily like great video games, they're just kind of cool from like a Dragon Ball Z fan standpoint. I found them for like 15 bucks, but normally they'd be like 150 bucks or, you know, a piece, or in that area. And then the Dia itself is like usually goes for hundreds of dollars. I found it for like $10 in some kind of thrift shop somewhere. Otherwise I wouldn't have a Bandai Dia because like I said, the library of games is only like 30 games, and a lot of them are just kind of, you know, just lame stuff, point and click, all FMV games, and it's Bandai stuff. So I mean, like, you get Dragon Ball Z, but there's also just a bunch of like, I guess, girly like Sailor Moon stuff and like some educational games, and it's almost not even a game console. It's almost more like you just bought a Laserdisc player or something, because there's not really much gameplay in the video games themselves. So I have the console and I have the 2 Dragon Ball Z games, which were really all I would have wanted for it anyway. So I'm done. I've completed my Bandai Dia collection with a grand total of 2 video games. Alright, go me. Yeah, Bandai Dia. A system I own, but not a system I collect for. Okay, next up, this console was a really big disappointment to me. Like I said, you can look behind me. I have quite a lot of PC Engine games. PC Engine has actually become my absolute favorite console to collect for, and I have a couple of hundred games for it, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Anytime I find a reasonably priced PC Engine game, I'm pretty much always gonna pick it up. So yeah, it's become just one of my favorite consoles of all time. That's why I was so disappointed with the follow-up, which is the NEC PCFX, which again is another system that I own, but it's actually in storage right now. I want to say like maybe 8 games for it, and I'm done there. Here a couple of the games. Standout games, Battle Heat and Team Innocent. Neither of these games is very good. The PCFX handles 2D and FMV very well. The FMV is actually superior, I think, to even what was on like the Saturn and the PlayStation. But it cannot render any 3D, shapes at all. No 3D characters, no 3D backgrounds, nothing. Which that wouldn't be such a big deal because I mostly love to play 2D games. The games on this system though are like really crappy. You think with a 2D powerhouse kind of system you could make really amazing beat 'em ups and fighting games and maybe like turn-based RPGs or hack and slash platformers, all that kind of thing. No, mostly what you get are like point and click games and dating sims and whatever the hell Battle Heat is supposed to be. It's like a fighting game where you take turns. I don't know, it's not really very fun. So these games look beautiful, really great anime FMV cutscenes, but that's really all they've got going for them. Other than that, they're really terrible games, and I don't really care to collect games that I don't want to play, because I am a collector, but more importantly than that, I just like to play fun video games, and PCFX can be an expensive system to collect for anyway. The only reason I ended up with mine was like with the Bandai Dia, I found it and the games at a hard off for cheap, so I picked them up just wondering what they could be like. And also being a PC Engine fan, I wanted to check it out, and just a horrible disappointment. So yeah, something like 8 games in my PCFX collection, and yeah, that's another one that's complete. I don't really plan on buying any more games for the PCFX. Not a worthy follow-up to the PC Engine, and definitely a console that I own but do not collect for. Okay, finally, this is a system that actually bought a US one a long time ago. I want to say when I was like maybe like 18 years old. I was saving all my money from the job I had at the time, and I was buying a lot of video games off eBay. And this was one of those systems that when I had seen it in commercials or maybe in ads and magazines, it seemed so awesome and advanced, and so I bought one off of eBay. Along with, at the time, I think 21 games, and I bought maybe like another 5 games separately. So I had the console and a whole ton of games to play through, all right out of the gate. I got to experience the console in all of its glory. That console is the 3DO, and again, that's a console that's in storage right now for the sake of space, because I moved to a smaller apartment. The 3DO was a huge disappointment to me because all of the games I got for it were just kind of shitty, either like on-rail shooters or some kind of FMV, like boring-ass game. I was expecting like more fun gameplay from this advanced console that I had dreamed about as a kid, and so finally I got some money, I get to get one of my own, and it just felt like a complete waste. Like I had totally wasted a couple $100 on this shitty console and the shitty games. I mean, there are some good games for it, and I pretty much have like all of them right here. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, amazing. Samurai Showdown is also great on the 3DO. Gex is actually a really fun 2D platformer. Star Wars Rebel Assault, fun shooter, and then Police Knots, great game by Hideo Kojima, point and click, and also like shooting and what have you. It actually can be played with the 3DO mouse, which makes it a lot easier. But Police Knots is a really great game too. And that's, I mean, aside from that, there's not much good on the 3DO. It's a lot of crappy FMV. There's like some first-person shooters on it, but for the most part, they're pretty crappy. I think the best one that I had played on the 3DO was a game called Killing Time, which was more entertaining for just how like nonsensical the premise was and the FMV cutscenes. But other than that, the 3DO was mostly just a bunch of FMV stuff, boring games. Twisted, the game show, was a fun party game, but other than that, 3DO, not my cup of tea. So I have a number of 3DO games. I want to say I have like between 20 and 30 3DO games. But that's it. I mean, that's where it stops, because like I said, of all those games, these are like the good ones, and this is only like 5 games. So yeah, not a whole lot I can say positive about the 3DO aside from a handful of good games for it. So it's another system that disappointed me, and I own it, but I don't really collect for it. I don't intend to buy any more games other than what I hold in my hand here, and that's it. Chris Albin, BioPhoenix, thank you for your question. Everybody in the comments, do you own a console that you do not collect for? Maybe you had high hopes for it, and then when you got it, it was just shitty, and you gave up on it right away like I did with these. Let me know. I'd love to know. And thanks for watching, everybody. Commenting, subscribing, liking, all that good stuff. And until next time, take care. Goodbye, everyone.